All right, welcome back, Universe, to Off the Rails podcast. Are we on episode 3, Mo?
Yes.
Episode 3 of season 4.
Yes.
Woo! Coming to you live from the Coldwell Banker Home Sale Realty in beautiful Grafton, Wisconsin. And if you're looking to buy or sell a house, maybe interested in a career in real estate, email Roy at cbhsr.com or give him a call, 414-235-0763. They'd love to be your go-to for all your real estate needs. Give Roy a couple days. They'll be coming back from Mexico.
They're still in Mexico?
There was a big shooting down there. I got to call Royce.
Oh, no. Where?
Playa del Carmen.
That's where they were?
I think that's where they were, but there's a shit ton of resorts down there. So maybe it didn't happen at Roy's resort. So everybody make sure you like and share. Somebody you know might need a laugh. And this week, we got the creator of the Cooper Vortex himself, Darren Schafer. Darren! Woo! Coming in from Colorado. All right. We're going to learn some DB Cooper. We're going to get hooked on that. I think the FBI left it open, but they're not investigating it anymore. So now it's up to us to solve the crime.
How long ago did that happen?
Darren can take that one.
50 years ago, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Whoa,
Well, it's great to have the show.
Good timing. It's like we planned it.
Hell yeah. All right. You guys want some bad jokes?
Sure.
All right, let's try this. Mom, my music? No?
No.
Oh, she reached. Reaching. Oh.
She's already with the blue balls
She's
today.
messing with you.
I'm sorry.
All right. Social isolation is leaving older adults with fewer teeth.
Oh.
Damn it, I'm not an older adult. Yes, my retainer broke, but Lady Gaga taught me to accept that, baby. I was born this way.
That's right. You were born that way.
I was born without 2 teeth, and now my retainer.
What about your other siblings? Do they have any of that?
My
Nope.
dad and grandma have the, as my siblings used to call me, faggle-tooth muckmouth.
Oh, so it's something.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still got these teeth rolling around in my head, and it hasn't happened in a few years now, but it will break the top of my palate and come through the center of my mouth. It'll look around, and then it'll suck back up into my head and go do what the hell it wants.
Last time it happened, he made me like stick my finger in his mouth and
It's
feel
just
it.
floating around in there?
There's 2 of them floating around, and then they just pop out once in a while through my palate. So I'm teething, and I got a tooth coming out the center of my mouth, and it's too big for the doctor to pull because he's like, your fucking brain will drip out down your throat.
He did not say
Wow.
that.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
It hurts, man. When it just cracks your palate slowly, takes about 6 months to put the full tooth, and then it just.
I
sucks back
imagine you
up.
have to go like on a soft food diet.
I just get headaches like crazy.
Damn,
And
bro.
they're like, what's wrong, Tom? I'm like, I'm teething.
Oh my God.
I get
Again.
teething. Just give me.
I mean, I know you didn't have the 2 teeth, but I didn't know they were floating around in your head.
Yeah, my grandma
Jesus.
had the one pulled out of her palate.
Oh, wow.
She was like 67, and they just fucking pulled it right out of the middle of her head.
So how many people does that happen to?
This
gotta
is
be
kind of
pretty
common,
rare.
the eye teeth, about 1% of the population.
I had no idea. You're the only person I've met. I didn't know they were floating
Insurance
around.
won't cover it because it's cosmetic.
Cosmetic?
Yeah.
Teeth floating around in your head?
It's just a way that they don't cover it. It's like next to the front teeth, so they don't do work. It's not the canines, so they don't do work. So
Doesn't
they're just.
get in your sinuses at all sometimes? That would be terrible.
Oh, if I could farmer blow a tooth
Blow
out
a
one day.
tooth out. Oh
Ew.
my God. That's a hell of a loogie. Oh my
No.
God.
I'd save it till I got pulled over for like speeding. Like, why were you going fast? Was
Oh my God.
that a tooth? Yeah, I had to get to the.
That's amazing. I had no
Wow.
idea. Did you know that, Molly, that you had a freak over there like that?
Yeah,
He's not a freak. He's special.
we
He's
can have
special.
no children. We can't pass this gene on.
Oh, no,
out of the
no.
pool.
You
Yeah.
got to have a bunch of children.
I'm a bunch of little faggle-tooth muckmouths. bro.
Faggle-tooth muckmouth. That's funny.
Yeah, when you're
Okay,
not-
I've got a missing tooth story for you.
Okay, let's do it.
So 5 minutes before the pandemic started, I ate shit on my mountain bike at Eagle Bike Park and knocked out one of my front teeth.
Oh no.
Ooh.
So one of my 2 front teeth. So I have like this bone graft done. It's devastating. It impacts my speech. I was taking a improv class at the time. So of course I just like dropped right out of that. I was doing my podcast and I was like, well, I can't even talk into a mic anymore, which was my hobby. I don't want to ride my mountain bike anymore. Then the pandemic hits, and it's a really weird time to have optional surgery in your mouth.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I just rocked no front tooth for a while. I had a flipper with a fake tooth on it,
What I got, yeah.
but as time went on, it started to make me gag. So I couldn't have it in for more than like 20 minutes or I would start gagging. But I will tell you the one benefit to the pandemic, in my opinion, because I was missing a front tooth, is that we got to wear masks like
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, keep the masks
But
on.
I think a missing front tooth would be great for improv, though.
You can
It
work-
probably
always gonna
would, but I mean, it was during the class I knocked the tooth out.
Oh no!
So I wasn't exactly gonna go
Yeah,
back and play
know
Zip
that.
Zap Zoop while I could barely speak and my face was fucked up.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to miss part of Twisted Dreams because my retainer shattered 2 years ago.
What are you always? You're very rough on those things. You should have a couple spare ones. They
Okay.
expensive?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's expensive.
No,
they're
it
they're
doesn't.
custom made, and they're
Because
yeah
they're
they're
cosmetic. They don't
it's not
insurance.
cosmetic.
That's what I
though.
try telling them. And
That's
they
the way
tell
you
me
were
to fuck
born,
off.
man. Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
birth defect. They don't care.
And it also will cause your other teeth, if you don't wear something, to go crooked and
move.
get all messed up. All right, let's let
You're
you
being
get
my
back to
lawyer.
your
Oh,
jokes.
I'm doing jokes. Okay.
You are.
Middle school or Midland, Michigan Middle School was busted putting litter boxes in the bathroom for children who identify as a cat.
Oh no.
Parents got upset, and now the kids have to use the sandbox outside with the other strays. Does that age me saying that there's sandboxes? Because they haven't been in playgrounds.
no, they
Really?
haven't really had sand. Everything is like mulch or plastic that like rubber mulch.
Yep.
Not even wood mulch. This is not a true story.
That's a true story.
Get out of here.
I'm not.
Okay.
Krispy Kreme will be giving free dozen donuts to people who
Yes.
donate blood.
All right.
But when Big Skin shows up with buckets of human blood, all they got for me is questions.
Oh. It's human blood and you got buckets of it?
Don't
I would
worry
have
about
some
it. I'm
questions.
donating it.
I have some questions.
It's your blood.
Are
now.
you sure it's human? Come on. This is the dairy state. Some cow blood in there.
Maybe. I got B positive blood, man. That's all you need
That's
to know.
very rare.
Yeah. 100 lab monkeys escaped from a crash in Pennsylvania. One driver stopped to help rescue the macaques, but now has a cough and pink eye.
Oh.
No.
If you touch macaque, you're getting off easy with a cough and pink eye. Check your bingo cards. Has anybody had like virus infected escaped lab monkeys for January?
Nope.
Goodness.
Were they
Science-
infected with rage?
I don't know.
You know, that's the
Probably.
thing. You don't know what they were working on, what they had. I heard the
they
ones that
killed?
escaped, they
got herpes and
killed
shit.
them.
Oh yeah, they shot him.
They killed them. Like, what are they trying to hide? Answer some questions about that shit. Where are you
just have
taking these monkeys?
Monkeys running around. You gotta. They don't.
No, but where were you taking them? What were you testing?
A Florida lab, and that's
They're
all
not
we
gonna
know.
tell you.
They ain't gonna tell us.
No, they have to. Stop doing that to monkeys.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's not gonna get you that far.
Were any of the monkeys wearing eyeshadow or something?
They're on
that's-
their way.
That's bunnies they test with that shit, huh? I'm Molly.
Yeah, torturing
No
bunnies.
clue.
Let's segue off of that.
There's plenty of bunnies.
Okay.
They fuck like rabbits.
You know, my grandpa had a joke. He used to tell me that you got to eat carrots. They're good for your eyes because you never see a rabbit wearing glasses.
I've heard that one.
All right. Scientists ran the biggest computer simulation to date to find out when society will collapse. And their best guess is 2040. Wait, 2040 minutes from now.
shit.
Bill gave me an assist on that.
Enjoy
one.
the show.
The White House got a cat. And the staffers that got bit by the dog are just fucking with Joe Biden and saying it was always there.
No.
Hey, when we get that cat, we always had it.
I feel
yeah.
look, that they got a dog that bites people. I don't think that's gonna bode well for that cat.
Scientists are now saying that being messy is normal, healthy, and natural. Molly, is there something you want to say to Will about the state of your car?
Yeah, well,
Listen, I don't think
natural.
they meant that. That's a little Molly. Seriously, I'm gonna take some pictures of the inside of your car.
You already have.
I'm gonna put them up on the website.
It's healthy and natural and normal.
Ugh.
You're the one with the neurotic clean
Yeah,
car.
back
No,
off.
I had nowhere to put my feet. There
Put
were
'em on the
there were
trash.
dirty socks and dirty gloves mixed
So
together
you
down
couldn't
there.
put your dirty sock.
Thank you, Will,
which-
Tom, for bringing this up again.
No problem.
Carry on.
Hundreds of sea pickles are washing up on the
Oh.
shore of Oregon,
Poor sea pickles.
and people are relishing it.
Sounds
Wait,
delicious.
that one.
There you go.
Sea pickle joke, and I went that you thought I was gonna zig, and I zagged.
The sea cucumbers?
No, they're sea pickles.
What's
They're
a sea
different.
pickle?
It looks like a sea cucumber, but it
Isn't
wasn't
it-
brine.
But it's brined. Yeah.
Wow, but you got to have a little vinegar to give
It's in
that
the salt water,
bite.
man. It's already brine.
It's
It's
salty.
in the salt water, yeah.
You want to taste my salty sea pickle? That sounds terrible. I'm sorry.
We'll go pregnant man among new emojis for iPhones,
Ugh.
which is great news for me because I thought I was putting on winter weight, but instead, Molly, we're having a baby.
Having my baby.
You
I
knocked
told you
me
to
up.
not.
You
let-
identify with the pregnant man emoji?
You knocked me up.
Okay.
I
couldn't
told
be
you
this
not
heavy.
to let her get
I'm
on
sorry.
top. That's the whole thing.
She took it, man. She's very aggressive.
Did she
When
twist
she
your
wants
ankle?
it- when she wants it, there's no stopping her.
What would be any occasion to use a pregnant man emoji?
If you're watching the movie Junior with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger,
That's about it, huh?
that's all I.
I think it's just to be inclusive to trans
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
trans community.
Well, finally, Canada is facing a breast milk shortage. But don't worry, once Big Skin gets these solid B cup milkers activated, I'm gonna save Canada.
Oof.
I'm pregnant.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I'm pregnant. I'm gonna help. You can hit it anytime now. Mom.
Oh,
You
that's
can call the
it.
shepherd. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Off the Rails podcast. We're here with the Cooper Vortex creator himself, Darren Schafer.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Have you been on the hot seat the last time you were here?
I don't think so. I don't think we had the hot seat.
It's the hot seat!
Woo!
Wow, yeah!
Right.
It's the hot seat! Hot seat! Off the rails!
All right, Darren. These are questions I come up with during the week. And if you heat a tortilla in a pan, do you got to wash the pan when you're done?
No, just wipe it with a paper towel.
There we go.
No, you know, this is what I do though. I just put a piece of foil in and then take the
On
foil-
the pan?
Yeah.
Do you even?
Oh, you mean on TT? I'm sorry. I thought you meant
tortilla.
to bake.
No, you just.
Of course you wash the dough.
It's only flour.
Yeah, but
It's only flour.
it's oil and stuff like that.
On what? I don't oil the pan. I just throw it in there to heat it up so I
Yeah.
can eat my street taco.
Your street taco?
Yeah, Costco's got the street
They
taco
are
kits.
so
Kit?
good.
I've
Oh.
seen
Those are great.
They don't put lettuce, they put cabbage in, and that's my new favorite thing in tacos. I'm done
It's
with
got-
lettuce.
It's got everything you need. It's got the limes. It's got cabbage.
You
It's
just
got
got
the
to heat up
cheese.
the
It's got
tortillas in a
like
pan.
a cilantro sauce
And
and
I-
a salsa.
Ooh. And what kind of you add your own meat?
No,
No,
it
it's got
comes
the
with like
chicken. That's
their
seasoned chicken.
chicken?
You just got to heat
It's
that
all
up.
seasoned.
Wow.
It's got everything. You don't need to add anything. You
It's
just
the
heat it
How
up.
many
best.
tacos does it make?
Enough that me, Molly, and my mom can't even. We
Yeah,
have
I don't
leftovers.
know how many, but it was a bunch, and it's got enough everything for all of the tacos. You don't run out.
Wow.
I want to say it
Is
makes
flour
10
or
tacos.
tortillas.
10 tacos, and I don't eat.
Probably.
I can't eat soft shells as much as I eat hard shells.
I love the hard shell.
I can dominate like 30 hard shells, and I get about 5 soft, and I'm
It's a great deal. You go
Oh,
to
yeah.
Costco.
And so
Get
you
those.
put the thing in the pan, and she said you should have washed it, and you said it was all right to wipe it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say you had to wash it.
Well, then it was my mom said I got to watch it. And I'm like,
Damn
for
right.
what? For
Because
what?
you don't want something that's been cooked and then not washed.
It's a
It's just a tortilla shell.
warm.
Tom, don't you always get the runs? Now I think I know why. So you always shitting.
You
get
don't
the runs.
wash a cast iron skillet.
I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
it's a cast iron
No,
skillet?
it wasn't.
Okay,
Well,
no.
honestly, I would wash it, but I wouldn't be mad at him for just wiping it out.
I didn't even wipe it out. I threw it in the drain like it was washed. I put it in the dish hole.
Well,
I faked them out. Nobody knew.
Is that your mom's pan?
It's my mom's pan.
Well, then you respect how she wants to do it.
Bitch. All right. All right, Darren. Miller is coming out with a new insert, whatever generic beer. We'll call it Summer Wit. They want you to do a commercial about how great it is. However, it's horrendous. How much money is it going to take for you to go on TV and say it's great?
Not much. Not much. I'm
Oh.
poor, so that needs to be factored in first.
Okay.
So I already wake up and do something I don't want to do all day long. So
Okay, yeah, a normal job.
I can't imagine that me promoting a beer that would be gross would be difficult for me to do at all.
what about you have to drink it probably on the commercial.
On the commercial and
what
hide.
about all your friends and family that come to you and go, hey, I bought that beer because it sucked.
You're like, I know.
All
they
right,
give me
I got 2 answers for you. One, you are not allowed to drink beer in a commercial. Watch a beer commercial. No
really?
alcohol
Oh, yeah.
is ever consumed.
Okay.
All right.
2, if the beer is absolutely terrible, I will still drink it. I've purchased beer that I think is gross and forced myself to drink it anyways. There's only one beer that I gladly poured down the drain, and that was by Rogue Brewery. They made a Voodoo Donut Bacon Maple Ale, and it was the most disgusting beer I ever tasted in my whole life. It tasted like you poured Miller High Life through a series of ashtrays.
Ew.
It was disgusting.
I had a pumpkin beer that tasted like somebody took a dump in a pumpkin and poured beer in, and then that's what it tasted
Shouldn't
like.
the name of that beer be a deterrent? Say that name again. What was it?
It was a Bacon Maple Ale.
And Voodoo too, right?
Voodoo.
That was just the brand of the. Yeah.
Bacon maple does sound good though for like a dessert beer.
For a beer?
If you get it right.
Well, you're not going to get sauced on it, but I would have it with dinner. I'd do it. Whatever.
It could be a West Coast thing because of Rogue Brewery, but it came in these giant pink bottles and Voodoo
Ew.
Donut themed, so it was pretty popular out here.
So, how much would it take? How much money? You said not much. What's the amount?
Can I do this all in one day? The commercial?
Yeah, it's one shoot, but they can run the commercial forever.
Then I would do it for $2,000.
2,000. All right. Well, we're
What'd you
lucky that
say?
Coldwell Banker Home Sale Realty makes it easy that we don't have to lie because they are great at what they do.
I
They're
like that we
amazing.
haven't even mentioned that we have our Mr. Miyagi in
From Coldwell
in our
Banker.
guest
He
spot.
lives on in our studio.
He's
Yep.
wearing our hat.
We got him a date with
Hat
Gail.
burrito.
Is her name Gail?
Would you
Gail.
stop, William?
I just was seeing how she's feeling.
I'm sick of filling out HR forms from Gail.
Hey, she's got no head. I didn't ask her for head, that's for sure.
Oh.
Where is her head? Oh no,
No,
there's
that's her
butt.
butt.
Her
Yeah.
butt.
Anyway, they're making a thing called the McPlant. So it's like the Impossible Whopper or whatever.
Yeah.
But now they're coming out with I can't find the right story, but they're coming out with a McBug. Would you rather eat a patty of the McDonald's plant burger or a patty of bugs mixed together? So
Would
it's
I
actually real meat.
rather?
Yeah, which one are you gonna eat?
I'll go with the plant for sure. I'm not eating bugs.
Why aren't you eating bugs?
Because I don't like bugs. You ever get a bug flying in your
eat
mouth when you're on
lobster.
a motorcycle?
I don't ride motorcycles. Do I look like a guy riding a motorcycle?
Have you ever been on the back of one with maybe Molly driving?
I would never drive. I've never ridden a motorcycle.
You've
I would
never
never
ridden
drive
one?
one. No.
No.
So here's my take on this.
We're all gonna end up eating bugs. Here we go.
No,
There's
hope
too many
I'm dead by
people,
then. I
and
hope I'm
cows
dead
are
by then.
hard.
My
to
take
get.
on this is that I would eat a bug like patty, but not something that McDonald's put out.
What about a bug sausage? I just take
I would try it.
mealworms, I grind it up.
Ugh.
Yes, I would try it.
That's all fat, protein.
But McDonald's, how do you even trust that that's even what? I mean, it's
If bugs get in
McDonald's.
it, you can't be like, oh, they
Why
got
don't you know- You were
cockroaches.
just
Big look.
begging me for a chicken nugget over here.
I was
Mhm.
not.
I'm gonna eat the.
I
bug.
will eat McDonald's, but I wouldn't eat a bug patty from McDonald's.
Where do you got to get the bug patty from?
Popeyes.
I'll eat a bug patty from the state fair.
Did you see that commercial
From the state
Popeyes
fair.
with all the was it rats?
Oh yeah,
Did
the
you see-
rats.
remember- Did you show that on the
Yeah,
show?
that-
Yeah,
all
we,
the rats
we ate
from-
bug tacos at the state fair
How was it?
Bad.
It was
Didn't
bad.
get like bug legs caught in your teeth.
because
Oh.
they were whole like grasshoppers
Wow.
and had the
No.
wings that got stuck.
It was
in
the
your
wings.
throat.
They were like that
Oh,
popcorn
nah,
husk. that-
I'm not doing that.
And they didn't really have any flavor. They just had a light dusting
would-
of like something on them. It didn't taste like
I would starve to
anything.
death instead. I'm not eating a bug.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to eat these McDonald's sandwiches? The surf and turf we had at one time when I worked there, but they have the land, air, and sea. The
No.
chicken, beef, and fish
No.
all on
That's
one.
not real.
well,
Yeah,
I would go
That's
either
not
way.
real.
New York. Several will become
Wait.
items you can order. The
Ye-
land, air, and sea. It combines a Big Mac, McChicken, and a fillet of fish in one giant sandwich.
go back up. It's really that
Who
many.
wants that?
Yeah,
That's
No,
huge. Who can eat
it's-
that?
It's no one or the other. Just ugh.
I mean, I would say I would try it, but you wouldn't be able to eat that.
I don't think fish and beef are good together like that.
surf and turf.
Well, I mean, like a lobster and a steak is one thing, sir. But like
A lobster's
fish-
a bug.
McDonald's fish
I'll eat that
McFishes
bug.
aren't
Is it a
aren't
bug?
bad.
It's got to be a bug. It's an arthropod.
I'll eat a lobster.
You'll eat a crab
I'll eat
too.
a crab too. That's not a bug, is it? What
It's
is
a
it?
bug.
It's well,
Land, air, and sea. Wait, do chickens fly?
Yes, Molly.
not
Okay.
much.
You go pheasant hunting. Do they fly?
That's not a
Pheasants
chicken.
do, but that's
They
not a
are
chicken.
chickens. They're
I never see
roosters
chickens
and
flying.
hens.
No.
Yeah.
Pheasant.
Pheasant is a
I
chicken.
never see chickens
No.
flying.
God damn it!
They
you
can
guys.
fly a little bit. They just can't fly that far. You know, they go flap around a little bit, but they don't. Yeah, they don't.
We have
I'm just
chickens.
thinking that chickens are more like land than you have chickens.
Yeah.
Do they fly?
Not really. Like Will was saying, they fly for a little bit. I mean, they can maybe
To
get
fly
like 30
is to
feet off the
dive.
ground.
Okay.
No.
That's why
maybe like
I
a
was
big
just,
jump.
That's why I was just
Pheasant family, a bird family order of Galliformes that include among its members the jungle fowl, which from the domestic chicken is descended. Partridge, peacock,
I
pheasant,
believe
quail,
that they can fly.
and
They just
jungle
don't.
fowl, which is the chicken.
Darren has chickens. He says they don't really fly. They're more of a land animal than an air animal.
That's
is what
right.
I was getting at.
I agree.
to call the thing land, air, and sea.
So there's two
Yeah, but-
types of meat.
But
There's-
air is for the cow that jumped over the moon.
And the land is the chicken. Okay.
All right, where are we at here? Okay, what's your strategy for zero gravity sex? Because this had me this story here. They're talking about reproductive in space, and it's time to take it seriously. So when two
Is it a
objects with no
stork?
gravity push against each other, they then push away from each other.
Good. That gives you the motion. Back
But
and
then
forth.
how do you get back
you
with
hold on? You hold on, bro.
that's you're just gonna hold on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sounds great.
You're not gonna use any straps or
No.
But you'd have to be literally like you were holding them like
Yeah.
pull
They're
like their whole
weightless.
weight.
They're
No.
weightless.
yeah, they're weightless.
And you're floating around.
I
baby,
think it
just-
would be more difficult than you're thinking it would be.
I would.
I
like to
think you
find
just
out.
have to like go caveman and just grab her and hold on to her and
let her go.
club
care
her
of
over
it,
the
yeah.
head.
I would think you would need some kind of harness or something.
Harness. That Molly's been trying to get you into a harness for years. She's a crazy one, man. She's got these little leather outfits and harnesses.
Right. She just happens to have it in her purse handy as well.
Yeah, in case we run into zero gravity, right?
Right.
Just in case.
Just in
The
case the gravity
decides
shuts off.
to shut off.
One
We
of these
can
days,
still-
you'll be glad I carry this around with me.
Everybody else is floating away, and Molly wants to bang.
The harness that comes stick in your mouth.
Look
You
at nobody
got-
can see us.
You guys are weirdos.
Floating away.
So what's the answer to that, though? Have they done it? Have they tried it?
Yeah, they need straps, and
They need a harness.
you got to strap yourself to the side of something.
Well, you know what? That would be nice too. But like you have to strap yourself to them or just hold.
But what
on
if
to
you
them.
didn't use like bungee straps where it like
Look?
pulls you forward when
Look.
gravity?
I'm no expert, but I do believe doggy style would be the best method.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna have to try any reverse cowgirl. It might turn into that accidentally.
Reverse cowgirl in no gravity is doggy style.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. There's only 3 positions in no gravity. Girl on top, doggy style, and normal.
And that's how you got pregnant. You let her get on
I
top.
let her get on top. Freaking gravity.
I mean, is there a top or a bottom in zero gravity?
Well, it probably changes. Yeah, you'd probably be just swirling through the air. Wow, man. Now you got me obsessed with thinking
That's
about
why
that
I saw
shit.
that story. I had to ask. So, Darren, you strap it down? Or what are you doing?
Wouldn't it be
Yeah,
so-
I think you either have to like bear hug the other person
Okay.
and go to town, or one of the people has to be like strapped or tied down.
Yeah.
wouldn't it be something you go through all this, you have all these harnesses, and you find out you can't get a boner in zero gravity, and
The
she
blood
can't
goes
get
through.
wet. She just stays dry in zero gravity.
Oh,
Just
the
horrible.
fluids that would be
Oh
floating
my
around
god!
next to you.
Oh
would
my
be kinda
god!
cool.
Oh my god! The
Oh,
fluids.
thank you for that.
Fluids.
How do I clean this up?
Oh shit!
You need
It's
a
just
net.
floating. Look, you said you wouldn't come. Oh my god!
Oh man.
Oh shit! Sorry, we've gone off the rails
Oh
already.
wait, we got Brian's watching. Hey Brian.
Hey, Brian,
Technically, girl on top would be missionary as well, so there's only 2 positions.
girl on top would
Yeah.
be missionary. Yeah. Zero gravity. Okay. 69ing would be impossible in space. There's no way you could coordinate that without straps,
I mean, you would just need lots of straps.
rubber bands.
Rubber bands.
Well, big rubber bands.
No, rubber bands. No, you would need more like bungee. Bungee.
Yeah, bungee
Yeah.
probably.
That's a big rubber band.
But it's
Wow.
coated. Rubber bands just aren't. And
Yeah,
they're
it's not
catching like
uncomfortable.
all the hair. And
You never had those big rubber bands that, oh, you guys don't put in windows.
have you ever put like a rubber band in your hair to hold it up? It sucks. Getting a rubber
Tom, you
band
ever
with
wear
all
a
the
rubber band in your hair.
Yeah.
Molly needs
Oh
that.
yeah, you guys don't put in windows.
You guys don't put in window. Yeah, windows, they use the big
So
rubber
did
bands
you
around
have
them.
your hair redone? Like it's more like blonde highlights now.
No, it's just faded.
It's the way.
Yeah, the
'cause it's
purple
no
fell
more
out.
The purple. Are you gonna have her fixed up again?
Yeah, she's got an appointment in March.
Okay.
Yeah,
To
what
get
color are
that-
we going? We should have people vote.
Just gray.
You know,
just
we
get
should-
it over with.
No, we should have
Diet gray?
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. We have people vote. What color do you want Molly to do her highlights with? I
Yeah.
like the purple. Blue is good.
Well, it was purple, blue, and green last time. It was like a gradient. It was like a mermaid
A
color.
gradient mermaid.
Yeah.
That must cost a fortune, huh, Tommy?
Oh, shit.
You said it took hours, huh?
Yeah. I came in, got my hair
He
cut.
doesn't
and
know.
left,
He
and
doesn't have to know.
She
He's okay.
makes her happy. Whatever.
No, it makes her happy. You got,
Hey, Darren, out of the 3 of
Brian
us,
says
from
chains.
what you know, who would be the worst rich person? Me, Molly, or Will?
Will.
Will would be the worst rich person.
why is that?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
He would be the guy who would obviously, no offense, Will, I don't know you, so I'm just speculating on all of this. But I think Will would be the guy who shows up in his G-Wagon, but it's beat to shit and messy inside. And then he gets out with a giant tub of cheese balls and then proceeds to head to his fancy suite at the beach.
Listen,
He
his
definitely
car is
doesn't know me.
his car is pristine. He has it; it's named and everything, and it like
That's awesome.
oh my gosh.
He absolutely doesn't know me.
No,
Cheese
William
balls.
would be holed up in his house with just all of the
cocaine.
all
No.
of the sex dolls. He would have every
Oh,
version of every
I would
sex
get
doll.
the best sex doll that they made.
I have a story later for the bonus episode.
Oh my god!
It's
Can
like a
you
play it
imagine?
again sports, but
Yeah, you'd
sex
never see
dolls
him
where you
again.
can
Oh
go and
my
trade
God.
used ones.
Yeah, you might never see me again because I don't like people as it is.
I think
Yeah.
Molly would be by far the worst rich person.
Why?
When you don't have to put up with somebody because you're rich, you can just walk away. Your eye rolling. Ugh, don't even talk to me.
That
And you-
sounds amazing.
I guess,
Yeah.
Tom, you'd never see your mom again.
never see it. Molly would be the worst rich person.
I don't think
I think
so.
it'd be awesome.
I don't think Molly would be the worst.
I'd go broke. I'd have parties and just
I think
give
it
all
would
my stuff
definitely
away.
be you.
I'd
Yeah,
be the
'cause
best rich
you would-
person.
I know, but like
You
that's
wouldn't
not-
manage
Yeah,
it.
high
you'd
roller.
you'd piss it all away.
I'd have fun. My last check will bounce, no matter how rich I get.
Oh.
That is
You're gonna
going to
skid
happen.
right into the grave.
All right, I'll-
broke.
Broke. My last check's bouncing. Nobody. I'm fucking somebody before I die.
Yeah, Molly, because you probably have to pay.
Yeah, I
all
gotta
your
pay her
debt,
rent.
all your debt.
Anyway,
Anyway, we're a half hour in. I'll put these on hold for next week. Darren, let's get into
Yeah, let's do
some
it.
of this Cooper Vortex stuff, man. All right. So straighten Will out just a little bit on the Cooper story.
All right. Here's the Cliff Notes version, Will. So, November 24th, 1971, a middle-aged dude in a business suit buys a one-way ticket from the Portland International Airport to Seattle. He pays with cash. It's $20. He's one of the last to board the plane. Shortly before takeoff, he hands a stewardess a note. She assumes is just another businessman trying to hit on her, so she slips it in her purse without looking at it. He sees this, grabs her. Excuse me, miss, you might want to have a look at that note. I have a bomb. She reads the note. He's hijacking the plane. He wants $200,000 and 4 parachutes ready for him on the ground in Seattle before they land. They agree to make the demands. It takes some time to round that up. They land in Seattle. He gets his $200,000, 4 parachutes, and now he has some new instructions for them. So he wants the plane to fly to Mexico City, but more important than where the plane is going to fly, he tells them how to fly the plane. He wants the plane to fly no faster than 200 knots. He wants the altitude to be at 10,000 feet. He wants the cabin to remain depressurized, and he wants the wing flap setting set to 15 degrees, and the landing gear will remain deployed. With all that information, the crew says, we can't make it to Mexico City. We'll have to stop and refuel somewhere. They agree on Reno. Another interesting detail is he also asks the plane to take off with the aft stairs down. Older Boeing 727 with aft stairs that lower so you could board and deplane. And the pilots aren't sure that the plane can even fly with the aft stairs down, so they call air traffic control. They have no idea. Air traffic control calls Boeing, and Boeing says, yes, actually, that plane can fly with the aft stairs down. We've tested it. So the pilots then refuse to take off with the stairs down. They say it's not safe on a plane full of fuel. Cooper disagrees with them. He says, it is safe, but I'm not going to argue with you about this. I'll just lower them in the air. Plane takes off around 7:50. The plane touches down in Reno right around 10 o'clock, and DB Cooper is not on board. Somewhere in between Seattle and Reno, he jumped out of the plane, never to be seen or heard from again.
Wow. With 200 grand.
With 200 grand.
Whew. And you said he had how many?
He had 5 cigarettes on the plane.
No,
I
but
know that.
he had how many?
4 parachutes.
4 parachutes.
Yeah, so he asks for 2 sets of parachutes. He asks for 2 front chutes and 2 back chutes. Front chute would be your reserve. So he gets those. So I assume he does that. So the FBI thinks he's going to take a hostage. That way they don't sabotage the parachute and the FBI kills the hostage.
Got that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
smart.
pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
smart.
Wow. That is very interesting.
And I know the thing with the cigarettes is they threw the cigarettes out. The FBI did.
They did. It was 1971. He smoked 8 cigarettes on the plane. So he's sitting in the back smoking and drinking. And one of my favorite details is he has the stewardess sitting next to him to sort of relay commands, and she's kind of controlling the situation. She was lighting his cigarettes for him. And that's just such it just tells you everything you need to know about that period of time. If I smoked cigarettes right now, there's no way my wife would light them for me. But here he is hijacking the plane.
On the plane. You could
And he's a
smoke back then.
hijacker, and you're like,
Well,
And you're
and
giving
they-
him 200 grand.
they didn't have the technology to do DNA testing, so they threw them out. They didn't even know that was a thing. So they still don't know who DB Cooper was,
So
right?
they could have tested him. Well, why did they call him DB Cooper then? That was
he wrote that, I believe.
No, that's another interesting story.
Oh,
So
let's hear that.
when he boards the plane, the only identification you needed in 1971 was the gate agent asks him for his name, and he identifies himself as Cooper, Dan Cooper. And so the gate agent just writes Dan Cooper on the ticket. Once the hijacking's done, the passengers get off the plane. The FBI is looking at the flight log or flight manifest, whatever it's called. And the one missing passenger goes by Dan Cooper. So when the media gets a hold of this, there's a mix-up because there was a DB Cooper who was a convicted felon living in Portland, and they just checked on him like, hey man, you didn't by any chance hijack a plane using your real name. So there was that mix-up, and it got reported as DB Cooper.
Gotcha.
And it just sort of stuck. And I believe, this is just my opinion, that the FBI enjoyed the fact that the public knew him as DB Cooper and not Dan Cooper, so that when you got all these confessions that eventually came in, most of them confessed to being DB Cooper. And if you're going to get that detail wrong right off the bat, it's probably not you.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
So any updates on
Well, there was more money found. There was money found.
With
There
the
was
match
money
serial
found.
numbers?
Yeah, February, I want to say it was like February 11th, but don't quote me on that, of 1980. The Ingram family, they're hanging out on the shores of this beachy area along the Columbia River where a lot of people just go fishing and hang out. And he sweeps some sand aside with his arm to build a fire and uncovers a pile of garbage, pulls it out of the ground, and was like, wait, this is money. So he uncovered 3 stacks of roughly $2,000 each. So it was like $5,800, all money from the hijacking. It was still bundled together. And where it was found is even crazier because it's way outside the flight path. If it fell into the water, there's no waterways that will carry it from the drop zone to where the money was found. It only adds more questions. And then Tom Kay has done some work. In the last year, there was actually a scientific paper published about the use of diatoms as a forensic tool. And it was on the DB Cooper money. So the first time diatoms were used as a forensic marker was this last year on the DB Cooper case by Tom Kay. And what that told us was the money got wet in the springtime. So there are all these diatoms based on season. And they have a really short life cycle. So the diatoms found on the bills were springtime diatoms, which says the
diatoms
money
are-
got wet in the springtime.
It was
And
planned.
that's it. So if the money falls in the water when he jumps in November, you would have found winter and spring diatoms on there at the very least. But
That's crazy.
there isn't. So it just adds more questions instead of giving us any answers as to who DB Cooper was.
I think DB Cooper was giving them like there was some shit going around where, like, according to people, the parachutes, he couldn't have survived the crash. And I think he was like, oh, I survived. I'm gonna let them know I survived. Here, I'll plant some money.
I don't think so. I don't think he planted money. It's making it look like he somehow didn't survive. You said there were no tributaries leading from a large group of water that he maybe could have crashed into that would have flowed into that area?
No, the drop zone area, he's either going to, if money gets in the water somehow, it's either going to be the Lewis River or into the Washougal River. And the Washougal River, it's just not possible. It gets too shallow. They actually tested that theory by throwing some money into the river with a phone number on it. Like, hey, if you find this money, call me. You can keep the money. And money just won't flow down the Washougal like that. And then the Lewis River, it ends up in the Columbia further upstream. So the money would have to enter the Columbia from the Lewis and then travel upstream to end up on Tina Bar.
Okay, so if he was going down the stairs and maybe he dropped some of that money before he hit the drop zone, is that a possibility?
I don't think
no, because you would have the wind blowing easternly. So if he jumps out of the plane, yeah, anything's going to flow east of where the flight path was.
Thing has me perplexed.
So diatoms are what makes like stop signs reflective. That's what diatomaceous earth is. And they come in seasons. They're single-celled organisms like a grain of sand. They're beautiful to look at under a microscope, but they grow at certain times of the year.
And it was only springtime ones. And he jumped in November, you said.
Correct. The day before Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Yeah, and the timing of his jump I always think about too, because if you are good at your job, you've been doing it a long time, you're going to have Thanksgiving weekend off.
That's what they look like.
And it's pre-internet. It's tougher to get a hold of people. He jumps out.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a long weekend to get ahead of everyone.
Yeah, and
he did it on Thanksgiving, right?
No one knows he was, but they also, none of that money has come like back into circulation, has it? Because they have all the tracking, the serial numbers under.
Right. So the money that he got is kind of goofy because First Bank, where the money came from, they had $250,000 set aside for such an emergency, in case there's a hijacking, in case there's a ransom. We have this money set aside, and they had all the serial numbers documented, and the bills were on microfilm, whatever high-tech thing that meant in 1971.
Yeah.
And so he gets his $200,000 out of that, and you're totally right. The only money that was found was the money found on Tina Bar. None of the other money ever came back into circulation. And I've always thought, oh, he could have spent it. You know, no one was really looking for it. It's 1970. But I had this guy on my show. His name is Arthur Friedberg. And if you look him up, he literally wrote the book on U.S. paper currency. It's called U.S. Paper Currency by Arthur Friedberg. And if you're super into bill collecting and the history, a lot of U.S. bills are identified what's called the Friedberg number, which his family created as like an identifier of all these U.S. bills. So what I'm getting at is this dude knows money in the United States.
Right.
And I had him on the show, and I was like, hey, Arthur, is there any chance that he could have spent that money? It didn't enter into circulation. And he says, absolutely not. There's just no way that would happen. He said, you're going to have over 9,000 $20 bills enter circulation that are already flagged. And the idea that not a single one of those bills comes up in a flagged transaction over the next decade or even 2 decades, he just said it's completely out of the realm of possibility for him. So when I talked to him, it was kind of a bummer because I'd always thought, oh yeah, he totally could have spent that money.
Yeah, like at a backwater casino or something,
or even like an exchange for
Canadian money.
Yeah, Canadian,
right. or like what if he had spent it somewhere that it wasn't being monitored? But
I asked him about that as well. You know, what if he spent the money overseas? What if he went to Uganda and was throwing out American 20s?
Traded it for gold and came back here with gold.
But he said when those bills come back, because if you're Canada or Uganda, you have this American bill. It's not good. You got to get it back to America so you can have money for it. And
it would have worked its way back here at some point, or at least some of them.
Right, 100%.
Cameras at all, like at the airport? Any kind of cameras?
Nope, there are some pictures taken outdoors, but they couldn't be used to identify anyone.
So what do you think he's alive?
I don't think he's alive today. They put him in his mid to late 40s in 1971. So if you're a 45-year-old man who drinks and smokes and does bold, dangerous shit, I don't see you living into your 90s.
No.
Wasn't there some weird deathbed confession?
I think there were a couple people
saying many. Somewhere between somewhere between a dozen and over 900 people have confessed to this crime.
900
on their deathbed.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird thing to confess to on your deathbed if it's not true.
If you think that number is blown out of proportion or I'm lying, just go on Twitter and type in IMDb Cooper, and there will be 72,000 people that have said that. So the idea that over the years 900 people have confessed more legitimately than just a tweet.
I think totally if you're dying and you want to be remembered, and you want people to talk about you.
I had a shit life. I didn't do anything. Fuck it. I'm DB Cooper.
This mystery that they could never prove. And because the reality of it is, because of the time that this happened in, and that we didn't have the technology that we do now, there's really not gonna be, unless they find a diary that's so detailed with like everything in there that he did, that it was like, oh, this was,
I think
there's no way that we're ever gonna know.
The motive is a fuck you to the government, so you got to know who's been fucked over by the government.
Everybody.
He didn't spend the money, and when they were talking about him being dead, he planted the money to just show everybody I'm not dead. He wanted to say, fuck you, FBI, I can beat your system. So out of all the people you're thinking of, who has that? Am I right on my motive? This was a fuck you.
It's possible. Tina, the stewardess who sat next to him, she asked him, "Sir, do you have a grudge against this airline?" And he responded, "I don't have a grudge against your airline, miss. I just have a grudge."
Okay. Because if you're just doing it,
all we know about his motive.
Money. I mean, he may have went down there and just lit the money on fire.
Listen,
he could have give a shit about it.
The big question is 900 people. Deathbed confessions. I'm DB Cooper. They go to the pearly gates, and St. Peter checks the list and says, "Sorry."
Maybe this guy.
You said you were DB Cooper. He's gonna burn in hell, and they all went.
He didn't hurt anybody.
The hell.
Maybe he didn't need the money. Maybe he just wanted to see if he could, get away with it, and if anyone would ever figure
an initiation for a college.
How many people he could get to talk about it?
You want to get in alpha, gamma, beta? You got to get in.
We should ask Niedermeyer. We should ask Niedermeyer.
Holy fuck, he hijacked the plane. I guess he's in.
Well, one of my favorite confessions, Molly, the story is pretty similar. It's Barb Dayton. So she's one of the first people that gets gender reassignment surgery in Washington State in 1969. So now she's living as a woman. She's not real happy with her life. She's working as a librarian in the Seattle Public Library. So she decides she's going to prove to herself that she's still this badass dude that she once was. So she dresses back up as a man, does the hijacking, jumps out of the plane, throws the money into a culvert, and goes back to her life as a librarian in Seattle.
I like that story. That sounds like a great story.
Just got to get it out of your system.
Girl power.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she confessed to a couple different people, especially this one family that she would go flying with, the Foremans. They wrote a book on it, the Legend of DB Cooper, Death by Natural Causes.
Huh. So
I kind of really hope that that's the real story.
She could.
If I got to pick, there are so many suspects, but if I got to pick one, okay, Darren, you get to decide who DB Cooper was. I think I would pick Barb Dayton, because the idea that DB Cooper is a trans woman is like the most Portland story of all time.
Yeah, but Barb Dayton is BD. She could have just.
You're right.
But it wasn't DB. It was just Dan.
Barb D. Klein.
What was Barb's name as a man?
Robert.
Robert. Okay, so she didn't go with Rob. Dan. Dayton. Dan. I
That's
like
it.
that one.
That I like that story though. That would be a good one to make a movie about. Seriously, that would be
Okay,
a
I got
good.
another real interesting tidbit for you guys. So they give the name Dan Cooper. There is a Franco-Belgian comic called Dan Cooper that predates the hijacking, about a Royal Canadian Air Force fighter pilot, daredevil test pilot who does all this shit. There's even an episode of the comic book that depicts him jumping out of a commercial airliner that's blowing up. This comic predates the hijacking.
All right. So what nerd had a grudge with the FBI? Here we
All
go.
of them.
Also,
Dan
the comic
Cooper.
book was not printed in English.
Really?
Mysteries.
Yeah,
and
it's like
spy-
French and
speaking
Spanish.
nerd who hates our government. That's our suspect.
Ah.
Did Barb speak French?
I
You
don't
know?
believe she did, but you know,
Okay. Royal Canadian Air Force.
one of the things I think is so interesting about the comic book connection is that if you are overseas, Tom, and
Yeah.
you're fighting for your country, you're at some military base in France, you don't speak French, there's a pile of books on the table, one is a comic book. Even as a non-French speaker, you could
You
pick
can
that
read.
comic book up as a 22-year-old man and pretty
Yeah.
much read it.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. So we got you think it could be someone from Canada. You know, that does sound like a very polite Canadian hijacking. I'm gonna have some drinks
Tina
and we're gonna
Mucklow,
have
who sat next to him for 5 hours, said immediately after the hijacking, quote, "He was always polite, never unfriendly."
it was a
Oh, that's
Canadian
Canadian
nerd.
right there.
Canadian
All over
nerd.
it.
You got any Canadian nerds on the suspect list?
All of them.
Weirdly, no, there aren't really any
Jason
Canadian
Brolin.
suspects.
But with that comic book name being Dan Cooper, that's throwing me for a loop here. I think it's a Canadian nerd who,
Well, from Montreal. It's French.
yeah, who had some beef with the FBI.
I had this gal on my show, Tessa, recently, and she lives in Canada. And I talked about this with her. I was like, well, what if he's from Canada? You know, there are all these things that point to him possibly being Canadian. And she said, you know, what tells me he's not Canadian is they all said he had no discernible accent. And she's like, you're telling me he's from French Canadian speaking parts of Canada with no accent? She's like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
That's true.
Yeah, but Canadians can do an impersonation of an
Yeah.
American.
Well, yeah, some of them could. No, I understand what you're saying. If French is their first language, they're going to have some type of an accent.
Maybe it wasn't French.
My father's fifth wife was French. She spoke
Maybe
with
it
an
was a
accent.
comic book store owner. They needed a $200,000 loan shark. They gave it to the mob.
You've derailed.
So
I
Darren-
like the trans. I like the trans story. That's the best one yet.
Darren, what got you into this, and how long have you been doing your podcast on DB Cooper?
I've been doing it 4 years now. Yeah. So what got me into it is just a couple of things happened to cross paths at the same time. I started going down this rabbit hole of reading these DB Cooper books. And at the exact same time, I started this job where I work completely alone. So I listen to 40 to 60 hours a week of podcasts and talk radio. And I started searching for DB Cooper podcasts. And I was like, oh shit, there's 40 of them. This is going to be great.
Wow.
And so I started burning through them, and they were all exactly the same. It was 2 or 3 hosts, usually female, that would sit and talk about true crime and wine. They would cover the case. They'd go over the hijacking in like 20 minutes. Then they'd spend 10 minutes covering 3 suspects. And then they'd all agree on which one they liked the most. And boom, they covered the DB Cooper case. I was so deep into it. I was like checking these forums. I was reading all these books.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear what the authors of these books had to say about this case. I wanted to know why they thought that. Why'd you get this theory? How'd you come to this conclusion? And I was also listening to this podcast on Mormonism called Naked Mormonism by Bryce Blankenagel. And as I listened to it, he went from driving an interstate battery truck to being able to quit his job and make a living doing that podcast. And I thought, okay, if this weirdo can make a living on a niche podcast about Mormonism, I should be able to at least create my own show. And so I thought, okay, I'll do it on DB Cooper because I want to talk to these guys. So I sent out an email out to 5 people that I thought, if I get 2 of these 5 to come on the show, I'll create this podcast. If they
Like
won't
authors?
do it, then I'm not going to do it. So I emailed those 5 people, and all 5 of them messaged me back right away. Yes, I would love to be on your show. So I was
Awesome.
like, oh shit, now I got to create a show.
Well, how where can your show be found?
Everywhere.
Anywhere you listen to podcasts.
The Cooper Vortex,
The
right?
Cooper Vortex. And how often do you do the show? Once a week? Once a month?
It depends. You know, booking guests is difficult. Also,
Okay.
I'm in a extremely niche community. So all of the big names in the DB Cooper world I've had on the show, or I'm still working on, about to have. There are two real big names I should have on this year, Jeffrey Gray and Larry Carr. So, but
You know who you should try to get though?
DB Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah. You go over the top, buddy.
I've put
saw
the
that one
invitation
coming.
out there. If you're listening to this, I'd love to have you on the show.
There you go.
Last
Oh
time
my
we talked to you, had
gosh.
HBO talking to you or in the works with you a little bit. Anything happen with that?
Yes. Well, a couple things. There was that HBO doc with John Dower that came out. I was not a part of that, but hilariously, I got a bunch of people messaged me about that doc. They're like, dude, the doc is just a movie version of your show. But I've had basically everyone that was in that John Dower doc has been on my show. And then there's another doc coming out. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm allowed to say about it, but I will be in that one. Should be out in 2 or 3 months. I'm not sure if they'll be on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you
nice.
definitely got to let us know.
Yeah, let us know and we'll promote it for
it's
sure.
specifically a DB Cooper documentary.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
And then CooperCon this last year, I was the MC for it. So that was pretty awesome.
Nice. Where was
That's-
that located?
Vancouver,
Vancouver,
just north of Portland, Vancouver, Washington.
That is really cool. Well, and you've had lots of interesting guests on. I mean, outside of the box of the regular, I mean, with it sounds like this money guy and just anyone that could have expertise related to this case. I mean, that's
Oh yeah,
really
I've had
stuff.
a guy on who was a Navy SEAL, a PJ, a smoke jumper, a paramedic. He was fire chief at Tualatin. I think he was like one of 7 people at the time to both be a SEAL and a PJ. So yeah, I've had several really interesting people on. I told you guys I wanted to talk podcasting
Go ahead.
over DB Cooper, but
I
you
was
know,
getting there.
I've thought about doing another podcast because I love doing it so much. I love talking on the mic and broadcasting and shooting the shit. I love interviewing people. It gives me an opportunity to talk to someone who might not otherwise speak to me at all. But we spoke a little bit before the show, and in the last 2 or 3 years, every single celebrity has started a podcast. I remember when I first saw Dax Shepard's show, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. I kind of like Dax Shepard. That could be interesting.
Right.
And then like 7 minutes after that, every single celebrity has a podcast. Every single comedian has
And
a
they all instantly
podcast.
jumped to the top because they're celebrities and
Their
people want to
names,
listen to them.
but
And
they're
it's
not really that good. Some of them are really.
But-
No, that
people-
Smartless podcast was #1 the first week it was out.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the celebrities that did the podcast over the pandemic is they're still front and center, even though
Mhm.
they retired their podcast a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Like,
people still go
still
find them
there.
and watch them, and
so
they're
they're still
on.
getting, they don't recycle it like Blockbuster takes movies off the shelves.
It's really taken away from some of the, like, I guess, indie podcasts and the people that are out there
I
grinding
think
and
we should
doing
get
it.
a lot more viewers than we do. I think our podcast
Yeah.
is quality.
Lots of people. I mean, it's lots of people have given up and dropped off and stopped doing it. But it has given us some. I mean, StreamYard came out of the pandemic, or it probably started before that, but it wasn't getting much attention. But when everyone was on lockdown, couldn't be like in person with people, this became such a great outlet for doing that. And I mean, they've done.
Yeah,
great
we
for
used to get
themselves,
guests
and-
the hard way. Now we just StreamYard them. It's very nice.
Yeah, I think the first time we had you on, we did it through Skype and some roundabout way to bring it into like an OBS type thing. That was really-
Molly's a crazy genius when it comes to roundabout ways.
Oh my gosh.
We had a marketing guy in here and he's telling us how to do things, and Molly has everything. Only Molly can work the computers like that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Got it going on.
she's one of the top in the business.
Yes, she is.
We should
She's very good.
appreciate her more, but we don't.
No, fuck that. Look at that.
Most of my guests are much older than me. And so using some of these programs can be difficult.
Oh yeah.
I was using Zencaster a little bit. But then once the pandemic hit, Zoom really stepped up its game. So I was able to use that. And then that's pretty simple. But I had a guest recently who couldn't figure Zoom out. So I ended up doing it over the phone. I mean, depending on other people's equipment just sucks so much, and it's out of your control. It's so frustrating.
Right.
And it's like,
Well-
I'm doing that and I'm dealing with somebody who's 78. So it's like,
Do they have
oh.
earbuds? Do they have headphones? Do they have any kind of microphone or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard.
originally I wanted to do all of my episodes in person. And so like my first 10 or 20, I actually got in my car and drove. So I drove,
Oh.
at one point I drove from Boise to, I think it was Billings, to do that episode with John Cameron. And that was, 11 hours each way.
That's rough. I mean, in person is definitely, I like it so much better, but that's rough.
And this does work out well. I mean, we've had a lot of guests that are from all over the country we wouldn't been able to have if we
Yeah.
didn't have StreamYard. I think it works great.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, there's other ways to do it, and Zoom works too. But these guys have stepped up their game pretty much since the pandemic took off with them too. But it's stuff that we didn't necessarily have the capabilities. It wasn't as podcast friendly, and
Well, all right, we can stop whining about podcasts and
No, but what an awesome
what an
studio we
awesome
have.
yeah.
And a lot of podcasts are only audio podcasts. We have a visual, and I think that's interesting. I'm a fan of our podcast. I enjoy listening to it. I mean, even though I've already done
Yeah,
it,
like
I
and
know
share.
we've already
Yeah.
said like and share. And I
Show
know a
'em
lot
on,
of
lady.
people that
Come
really
on,
like
Mal.
it. I know a lot of
Get
people
her
really
up
like
here.
It, so
hold on.
All you gypsies,
This lady?
tramps, and thieves, like and share. That's the best way you can help out. Still, the small guys getting pounded by the big guys. Still, make sure you check out Darren Schafer's Cooper Vortex. It will suck you in. What is there an episode they should start with, or just from the beginning, Darren?
You could start wherever you want. The show's non-linear. Each episode is standalone, but my very first episode I did with Bruce Smith is a really good place to start.
There you go. Start on episode 1. Check out the Cooper Vortex. Everybody, thank you very much, Darren. Thanks for coming in. It's been
Yeah.
great having you. He's gonna stick around. We're gonna have some fun for our Wednesday show.
You're sticking around for the second hour?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Remember,
excellent.
universe, we're not good enough.
Nope.